So one thing in Sweden that I find really interesting is that there are no classes as we know it here in Austria. Can you describe this for us?
Yes, we tried to get rid of the old thinking of a class as a class that is existing over a while with so and so many young people in it. So instead we have created teams of teachers who are responsible for learning groups of students. And that means that sometimes there is a large group of students, but as we try to work with teams of teachers, you try to divide the responsibility for following the different children for one teacher who can take care of the individual training of them. So we have tried to loosen up our heads and think that it might not be something given by God that is called a class. So a group of learners is what we think that we have there.
So a funny and a sad thing in one is that teachers think that they are teaching different and the students are thinking that teachers are teaching.
Yes.
So is this something that is just happening in Sweden or is it over the world?
I unfortunately believe that this was not something that was unique for Sweden. We see in other research that when you ask two groups about the same thing and they have different positions in that situation, they usually don't share the same view, and that is what's demonstrated in this little piece of research.
What is really interesting is that there is still the thing that the teacher is talking. Things like group work or discussions are not done so much. Do you think that this is something that should change in the future?
Yes, I'm sure. And as I referred to in my little speech here, we have also other research where we have made direct observations of what is going on. And you could say that the picture that this survey gave is a little bit simplified. It's more difficult than that. So teachers speak, they talk, they explain, but in the Swedish classes, not classes, but schools, you work in such a way that there is an interaction between teacher talk, periods of students working alone or working together, which is, you could say, according to our ambitions, more positive than the picture that I showed. But we don't have the same follow-up studies made there. But I think that is a strong need for schools to leave a very ancient pattern of having teachers to have a repertoire of explaining, talking, telling stories, etc., and change it, accept that the world have changed. The books are there, but the computers are also there, and the iPhones, the telephones have shifted, and the children are acquainted with a lot of other instruments than they were before. So teachers have to study how students, how small children, how youth are working when they are learning, and they will see that they have to adapt to that new situation.
Now, your system in Sweden is so much different than we have it here in Austria. Do you think that there is something that Austria should copy or have a closer look to?
No, I never say that anyone shall copy another country's system, but I think that when I visit Austria and look into what you are doing, I have a strong feeling for that you need to, let's say, challenge your own system. For instance, you have sitzen bleiben, kept in the system, even if you know and if you interest people coming from the national economics to look at the costs of that system and to what profit, you could say it's an idiotic system. But it's coming back to peculiar habits that teachers are good judges of the destiny of young people and that they are interrupted by signals. No. Yeah. So I really think that there is a need for a critical view on your own system and create new solutions that goes in many other directions. More of inclusion, take the consequences of your debate for a long time and get rid of old habits like too much lecturing and too much sitzen bleiben. And you cannot really go on to say that we don't have the resources. because you usually have the resources, but you need to be free to use the resources in a way that you find effective. And you are, in a way, not allowed to do that now and then. So that is the big shift. We don't spend that much more money than you do in education. Usually we spend a lot of money, as you do, on traveling to, back and from schools, but we also spend money on food for the children in the school. And that makes our educational system a little bit more expensive. But our teachers' salaries are lower than in Austria.